Jews can be a superstitious people. Ashkenazi Jews tend not to name a child after someone who is living. God forbid that might tempt the evil eye. Some Jews take a drop of wine from the Havdalah cup and touch their head, pocket, and heart to ensure wisdom, financial prosperity, and love. We also have a superstition around counting each other. Yet long before Jewish population studies, God was ordering numerical accountings of the Jewish people. In this week's Parshat Ki Tisa, God says, Ki Tisa et Rosh B'nai Yisrael lifkudehem. When you take a census of the Israelite people according to their enrollment, each shall pay the Lord a ransom for themselves, so that no plague may come upon them. This is what everyone who is enrolled shall pay, a half shekel. Rashi explains the reason for the half shekel payment, so that no plague may come upon them. He says that essentially the half shekel protects the Israelites because the coins will be counted in place of the people directly. This answer hints at one reason behind the Jewish reluctance to count people. We're concerned about objectifying human beings, turning them into a commodity, something to be bought, sold, or quantified. In assigning a number to a person, we could start to think of people as numbers and nothing more, and we know the danger of that. Our tradition is teaching us that each person's worth is beyond any measure or numerical value. Nowadays, when we want to make sure that a minyan is present, instead of counting people directly, many will say, not one, not two, or nicht ein, nicht zwei, or choose a 10-word biblical verse like this one from Psalms, Hoshia et amecha uvarech et nachlatecha. Save your people and bless your inheritance, tend them and sustain them forever. When we count people with words of Torah, in effect we're telling them, you embody a sacred word of Torah. You are Hoshia, you are uvarech, you are nachlatecha. You yourself are an invaluable, irreplaceable living word of God. This reminds us of the famous saying of the Baal Shem Tov, who taught that the Jewish people constitutes a living Sefer Torah, and each of us is like a letter in the scroll, an essential part of the whole. Treating people like numbers can lead us to devalue human life. When we hear horrifying statistics, for example, that there have been 112 million cases of the coronavirus worldwide, it may mean little to us. It's too many people to imagine, to wrap our heads around, and we lose sight of the individual human suffering that each number represents. So when I think of the Jewish prohibition of counting people, I try to remember the deep moral message behind the superstition. It represents a sacred Jewish value, the immeasurable worth of every individual. It teaches us that human beings are not numbers and must never be considered mere commodities. It reminds us that the true measure of a people goes far beyond its numerical size. Our practice of counting one another through words of Torah teaches that we are each sacred. Money, it's often said, is fungible. Material goods sold by weight or volume can be easily swapped for identical goods. But every human being is unique and precious, and none of us is replaceable. Shabbat Shalom.